President Trump challenged the world leaders in his speech to the United Nations yesterday. He criticized countries for recognizing a Palestinian state, calling it a reward for Hamas. And later, he made a strong show of support for Ukraine.
Well, the president also called out European nations for a policy of unchecked immigration. He said it's destroying their countries. CBN's White House correspondent Kelly Wright reports.
President Trump delivered a speech punctuated with tough talk and criticism of allies and adversaries. He addressed issues from what he called uncontrolled migration and ending the wars in Ukraine and Gaza to defending the strike on Iran's nuclear program.
My position is very simple. The world's #1 sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon.
He also scolded European allies for buying oil and gas from Russia as they defend Ukraine, but saved his major announcements for after the speech.
President, do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
Later posting on social media that with the help of the European Union, Ukraine can win the war and retake all the land Russia has taken. In the General Assembly, the president touting his administration's success in ending the flood of illegal immigrants pouring across U.S. borders. He then issued a strong rebuke to European nations on the impact of what he calls uncontrolled migration.
Your countries are going to hell.
The president issued some of his strongest statements concerning the Israel-Hamas war, telling leaders it's unwise to recognize a Palestinian state.
Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities.
And making a strong demand to Hamas about the captives held since the October 7th attack.
Release the hostages now. Just release the hostages now.
Kelly Wright, CBN News.
Well, CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell joins us for more on the president's remarks. So he said he stood on the side of Israel. How is that being received in Israel?
Well, very good, Gordon. He also said, I've been on the side of Israel my whole life. I think they really thank God for President Trump. A huge turnaround from just a year ago, the Biden administration. And many people wonder what would have happened if Kamala Harris had won the election. Could there be an arms embargo, greater international pressure, even sanctions? And so the Trump administration, since January 20th, Gordon has provided, enormous material and diplomatic support. Just Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, just recent visit, he expressed unreserved support for Israel's war with Hamas. And so right now, Gordon, Israelis and Jews around the world are celebrating the beginning of the new year, Rosh Hashanah. And so many Israelis are thanking God for President Trump and his support for Israel.
Have the negotiations with Hamas just completely broken down? I mean, once they said we will never lay down our weapons, that's non-negotiable on our part. We're always going to struggle against Israel. Is there any hope of a negotiated peace?
I really doubt it right now with the IDF right now in Gaza City, nearly taking over Hamas's last stronghold. I think they've been pretty intransigent about their negotiations, Gordon. First of all, they want an end to the war. They want a release. They're not pledging the release of all the hostages. The latest one reportedly was just half of the hostages, and they want the IDF to withdraw from all of Gaza. So I think right now, negotiations with Hamas look very grim and dim.
Do you think the president's remarks at the UN will have any impact on Europe? Do you think it'll change any of the leadership there, both in terms of their policy towards Israel, the recognition of a Palestinian state, or their own immigration policies? It seems to me a lot of their current policy is being driven that there are just so many Muslims that are currently living in France and in Great Britain, that it just seems to be policy driven by politics and election cycles than really recognizing what's on the ground in Israel.
Yeah, well, President Trump was pretty blunt, Gordon, and what he said about many of these European countries, that they're really ruining their own country. I was in the UK over the weekend, Gordon, and what I was hearing was pretty much the same warnings that President Trump was saying during his message. He said unchecked immigration was destroying these European countries. It's what I heard in the UK. People warning literally of a civil war, a great rise in anti-Semitism, warning about Sharia law in parts of the country, and people literally losing their heritage and culture. Many Jews there in the UK are fearful. I hear there's in France, the U.S., even the U.S., and especially in European countries. And that's why here we are in Rosh Hashanah. I was at a dinner the other night, Gordon, and many of those prayers have to do with God's blessing on this new year. And one of those, or a couple of those prayers are, may it be your will to annul evil decrees against us, and may it be your will that our adversaries be removed, and obviously prayers as well for a good and a sweet new year.
Well, Chris, may you be signed and sealed for a good and sweet new year, and our prayers are with you. Thanks for being a watchman on the wall, and thanks for all your intercession for Israel and the entire world. Thanks for joining with us.